I am reading this book called Good Fortune by CK Chau, and it is basically like a Chinese American retelling of Pride and Prejudice. Everyone has like a Chinese last name. Um, Bingley's name got changed to Brendan. Darcy's name got first name got changed to Darcy, and his last name is Wong or something. Cousin Fitzwilliam, Colonel Fitzwilliam's name got changed to Caspian. Wickham's name got changed to Ray. Um, there's still Louisa and Carolina, and Charlotte and Maria, and all of the sisters. The Bennett mom's name got changed to Jade. The dad got changed to Vincent. It's just a lot of like, it's it's not hard to keep everyone's names in line once you read more. Oh my gosh, Mr. Collins' name got changed to Joffrey. Joffrey Collins, and I just got past the part where Darcy confesses and he writes that letter and she gets back into town and meets up with Wickham again, and I think she's about to confront him. It's weird because all the guys so far keep on touching the women without consent because it's like set in modern times in Chinatown. Brendan, aka Bingley, he like just touches Jane and stuff, and like I don't know if guys do that. I definitely was not on the receiving end of men randomly touching me when we're like being friends slash hanging out slash flirting. And then Darcy just like, instead of confessing to her in like the book or the movie, he just walks across the room and kisses her. Like, that's assault. I did not enjoy that. And like Ray, aka Wickham, will just like randomly just start like stroking her arm. Oh my gosh. And Mr. Collins like made Lizzie dance with her at the ball, the ball where he embarrasses and everyone embarrasses themselves. Mr. Collins makes Lizzie dance with him, and then he like tries to grind on her and touch her butt, and she keeps like pushing him back, but he keeps doing it, and like, oh my god, it's so like, we're all supposed to hate Mr. Collins, but like I hate so many parts of this book. It's so problematic, and like I'll read all the retellings of Pride and Prejudice. That one with the Indian family, I loved it. Like I read every single one. Persuasion, Jane, what's it called? Emma, all of them. And those were so good. But this one, like, I don't know, is feeling problematic. We'll see. Um, Also, Lizzie is a photographer. Oh, but she said never call me Lizzie. Her friends and sisters call her LB, like Lizzie Bennett, but like their last names are not B. Um, but she just says like her sister couldn't. Lydia didn't know how to pronounce Elizabeth's, so she called her LB, LB, yeah. And then they took out, you know, how Lizzie's dad really they had a really good relationship. This one's not. It's not in this book. He is like the manager or head manager, but not the owner of a restaurant. And his character only cares about the restaurant and ignoring his wife. Like, I know his character was very like nonchalant and non-caring, but his relationship with Lizzie was like the one redeeming quality about him. But in this, he just like is a silent dad character. And of course, mom is always like the most annoying character, other than, oh my gosh. And Lady Catherine is insufferable as always, but she's extra insufferable in modern times. She keeps calling like every 5 seconds, giving her opinions about everything. Look how you're dressed, look how you're breathing, look at your hair, blah blah blah. And like, oh my gosh, it's insufferable. And like, you feel those things in Pride and Prejudice, the original, but like not as strongly as this. Maybe translated to modern times makes it more infuriating. But I don't know. We'll keep reading and let's find out. So I finished reading last night, and um, that thing that Wickham does in this version, in the modern version, he is a photographer, and he met Georgiana when she was 16 and took nude photos of her. And because they were in France at the time, it's not illegal. And threatened to like release them or something to embarrass her. And they actually put in that Georgiana actually tried to end herself. So then that scene where I think Carolina or Louisa, Bingley's sister, says something about like, "Oh, that's so embarrassing. Why would a girl ever do that? They should just blah blah blah." Um, and like obviously she didn't know what Georgiana went through. In this case, Carolina said like, "Oh, she should just end herself," and then Georgiana's like right there and she hears it. But obviously, at that point, only Elizabeth knows, other than Georgiana and Darcy. So that's what happens. And then Lydia, she's trying to be a model, and she likes to let people take pictures of her. And then Ray, aka Wickham, they meet on the beach or something in the Hamptons, and then like he convinces her to meet a producer, and they take tasteful photos. But apparently, as soon as the producer found out she was like 16 or something, he ran off, which is good. And then they had to check that the contract was good or not. And then Wickham, Darcy paid off Wickham as always. It doesn't tell you how much, but it's implied it's at least 100K in US dollars. And Lizzie, like, she reflects back on her time in like the first part of the book of like every time she saw Darcy and saw he was all like rude and closed off, he was actually just like looking and thinking, not judging. And she eventually like grew to like his like stern looks and just noticed that he was just shy. It's very much, you know, it is a retelling of Pride and Prejudice. They end up together. The last chapter is 1 year later. They've been together a year, and they're all boyfriend girlfriends. Jane and Brendan Lee, aka Bingley, Elizabeth and Darcy, you know, all together, and they're opening the rec center, which is what the plot was centered around. Instead of like, oh, come live with me at Pemberley. The Bennett family really cares about this rec center that's in Chinatown or something, and they're trying to fix it up, and Bingley and Darcy were the ones who invested. And the 1 year later is the rec center opening. It's all renovated, it's all beautiful, and they're like throwing like an opening gala. They keep throwing galas. I don't know if like less not rich people throw galas, you know. I don't think I would recommend reading this version. I would definitely just say read that Indian family version that I was reading last time. Let me see if I can find it. The series by Sonali Dev. This one, the first book is called Pride, Prejudice, and Other Flavors. It's about this Indian family. Each book is about one of the main characters, and they all have their own names. But as you're reading, you can very clearly tell that it is inspired very, very strongly by Pride and Prejudice. And let's see, the second one is Persuasion, the third one's Sense and Sensibilities, and the fourth one is just Emma. It's called the Emma Project. But that series I devoured. It was amazing. Looks like it's not on Libby right now, but if you can find a physical book at your local library or, you know, in a bookstore if you prefer those, I really like that. As you all know, I love Pride and Prejudice. I have a huge collection there in the middle shelf right there. Up there, it's all different covers of Pride and Prejudice. Bye. I wanted to add on to the video because I felt like it was too negative. I borrowed Listen in Chemistry because I don't have this Apple TV, so because I don't have any Apple products, so I'm not able to watch the series. But I keep getting recommended clips of it, so I was like, I'm just gonna read the book, and I just finished crying. 630 is the name of the dog, of Elizabeth's dog, and he might be my favorite character. And every time they showed the dog's inner thoughts, it just made me cry because, well, my dog's like walking around right now, but like the fact that this dog is so intelligent and so amazing, it's amazing, and it makes me like so emotional. It's not even sad cry, except for the part where the producer says, "Oh, the dog does nothing," and the dog is visibly sad. This book is so amazing. It took me like 5 hours to read it today, and I didn't time yesterday. I'm so bad at timing. I don't
I found my old timer, but I can't find the battery that goes with it. Um, Anyway, I highly recommend this book. If you guys have watched the Apple TV one, I'm sure the book is better and more detailed. It's really sad. To summarize, the main character is Elizabeth Zott. Um, and this is her life and tribulations as she goes through things. It starts with her, or like chronologically, it talks about how she was a master's student at UCLA and her supervisor decided to come into the lab one night when she was alone and decided to put himself inside of her. And in her defense, she was kicked out from school. Um, and then she's at this Hastings. I don't know if it's a school or it's just a science lab. She's at Hastings and she's just there as like everyone's assistant because it was back then when like women just can't do anything except for be a housewife, and like it's just really upsetting to read a lot of it, to know what women had to go through. Like I know there are still things we're going through to this day, but reading a lot of it was super upsetting to be like it's it just so it is it's the only word I can think of. It is so upsetting to be like, oh, everyone assumes you're here to get an MRS, or oh, you're just dating him for his clout. You're using his coattails and all of that stuff. And like, I don't even want to mention her lover, but like, he is a huge part of the story. But the entire point of this book is like, she is her own. She didn't want to get married because she didn't want to be identified as his girl. But like, you know, a fellow scientist, and they kind of fell in love because they had natural chemistry and they were able to talk smarts, which is like, the dream. And then they were both very straightforward. It's very spectrum coded, which I don't know if the author has come out to say either or both of them are on the spectrum, but it definitely feels like it, which is great. um I feel like a lot of people are, and just it doesn't need to be identified, which is okay too. Only if you want. Um, and then he dies, and she has a kid. She doesn't find out until after his funeral. And there's this dog who, the dog is so smart, and like, and then she goes to some dad at her daughter's school and just be like, "Your daughter's eating my daughter's lunch. Stop that." And then he's like, "I'm a TV producer. Can I make you into a TV show?" Oh, and she's really pretty. They keep talking about how like all the men's perspectives are like, she's really pretty. I must put her down or use her or have her. Um, but she's just like, "I'm smart. Why won't you listen to me?" And I love that for her, that she's able to be listened to. She's just take no nonsense, and that's awesome and amazing. Um, I think this is like, okay, so the author's blurb, it says she's who who's worked widely in fields of technology, medicine, and education. She's an open water swimmer, rower, and a mother of two amazing daughters. Something about her husband and her dog named 99. So I feel like this book is like a dramatic retelling of her life. I don't know if it's dramatic or realistic, but it's like taking your own life and like putting it in the 30s or 40s or whatever this was based on. 60s. I don't know. Um I cannot I just don't have the words to say how great it is. I feel like if you're a woman, read it. If you're a dude, you might be more upset at things like this, depending on how progressive you are. And that's fine, stick to where you are, but I think women will love this. And it's really thick, and the words are really small. It took me a really long time to read it, but I could not put it down. It was so good. Highly recommended.